Hello and welcome to a quick walkthrough video of the Xbox One interface. We've had this console in the office for a little while now, obviously doing some early impressions and reviews of the launch titles. Still a couple more to come in that regard. I think Forza is today, Rise is tomorrow, but we're also just now allowed to start talking about the kind of backbone of the console, I guess, the interface, how you interact with it, how well Kinect commands are received, things like that. And I thought the best way to show that would be through a video, so you can see how quickly those things register and get an idea of how well you're going to get on with some of these ideas. You may be thinking, Chris, didn't those two lovely chaps from Microsoft do something similar not long ago? And yes, they did, but you know what? It's sometimes worth having a second glance at these kind of things. My experience, to be honest, has been a little bit mixed. At times, the console can be extremely impressive, and even with some of the smaller features, like turning around and saying, Xbox on, and watching the console boot up behind you is kind of awesome. But at other times, particularly with the Kinect commands, unfortunately, I've run into some difficulty and got frustrated having to repeat the same command over and over again. And yeah, it's not necessarily quite where I'd like it to be, but we'll see how we get on throughout this video. Anyway, the console's booted up, and as I turn around, it should register my face and the fact that I'm holding the controller, and load my personal profile. There we are. So it's logged into my account and brought up my personal settings with a rather interesting choice of orange for my background color. And yeah, this is pretty much where they started off in that kind of all-in-one tour video. So I'm going to run through some of the same ideas and just see how well they work in the office. But to be honest, the first thing we want to do really, just to show that the console is set up how it was intended, and just to make sure that I have moved the Kinect sensor around a little bit. I want to make sure that everything's up to scratch there. We're going to bring up the Kinect settings and make sure that the audio is all right to start with. Anyway, you can see it's registered me. I like that it follows your head around as you move, but I am very easily amused. And we'll say that we're having trouble with Kinect. We haven't yet, but we just want it to go ahead and redo the audio settings. So first of all, it checks the visual stuff. Make sure you've got the angle right, and I think that should be okay. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be registering the floor. I can see the floor. Yes, that's right. And it wants to make sure, it actually wants me to tilt the sensor up ever so slightly. It needs to be in this green circle here, so go and do that. And there we are, that's good. Yep, we're okay, and all set. Now, it's the audio that I'm really bothered about, to be honest, because I want to make sure that if any of the commands don't get recognised, it's not because the audio wasn't set up properly. And to be honest, I've been rather impressed with the visual side of Kinect. Most of that seems to have worked rather nicely so far, to be honest. So yeah, let's go ahead and do an audio check, in which I'm going to have to shut up for a few moments. And there we are, the audio set up, and it's always worth doing that when you've moved the console or the environment changes slightly, just so it can judge the speaker volume and the background noise. It needs to kind of counterbalance those in comparison to your voice. So hopefully that's all good, and yeah, the visual stuff's still looking fine. So go back to the main menu, and actually, you know what? We'll do it from here just to test that the audio commands are working. Xbox, go home. Xbox, go home. There we are, second time's the charm, unfortunately. And yeah, that brings us back to the main screen. Now, yeah, this is where they started off on the kind of all-in-one tour video that they did do a few weeks ago, and we'll run through some of the same kind of ideas and just see how well they work in this setup. And to be honest, they should work pretty goddamn well because we're in a lovely quiet room at the moment. There's no background noise, there's no people walking past, there's no one in the same room chattering, and not everyone's going to have a setup like that. So this should be pretty ideal, but we'll see how we go along. Anyway, we'll start off by going to the game. You can see we've got Dead Rising 3 in the bottom there, and seeing how well Kinect works with a bit of background noise from the game itself. So, Xbox, go to Dead Rising 3. There we are. Now, I'll load the game up first before I start showing how quickly you can jump back and forth between the home screen, but that's actually one of the things I really, really like about this console. It's nice to see what a little bit of extra RAM can do, to be honest. And yeah, switching between applications is a treat, to be honest. It usually tries to keep whatever you've got up in a kind of stasis, so if you're playing a game, it'll pause it, and you shouldn't in theory lose any progress, and you can go and watch Netflix and then come back to it later on, and you should be exactly at the same point, which is rather nice indeed. But yeah, the Dead Rising 3 menu doesn't have a whole lot of noise going on, so we'll just start a new game and get a little bit of zombie groaning going on in the background just to test out a couple of extra Kinect features. Let's see, story mode. Actually, I think I have just started from the beginning of a new game here, so that should be rather perfect. And as you can see here, Dead Rising 3's got some Kinect features of its own. You can attract zombies by shouting at the screen, which may sound fun to some people, I guess, but isn't necessarily on the top of my things to do. Anyway. Now, we did say during the Dead Rising 3 video that loading screens weren't necessarily a fair reflection of the console. Well, now they are. That should be pretty much what you'll get as of day one. We've had the big patch that came through today, and as far as we're aware, the console is where it's at for the launch on Friday, if you're in the US anyway. So, there's some audio here, and you know what, we're going to turn it up a little bit. We'll have it a bit louder than it usually would be, just to see how well Kinect deals. And yeah, let's go. Xbox, go home. Xbox, go home. Xbox, go home. There we are, third time. And yeah, you can see it quickly pulls out and pauses the game in the background. And you can also do that with the Xbox button itself. And it's really nice to see how quickly it does switch back and forth, even if Kinect didn't quite pull its weight there, unfortunately. Anyway, let's try something that you really do need Kinect to be able to do, and something that's been introduced today actually with the new patch, and that's the game DVR, the ability to record a few seconds of gameplay and save it. The way this usually works is that as you say the command, I think it's about 15 seconds or so before you say that, it's got that kind of stored and will record and upload that footage. So let's have us walking around in a circle here, and Xbox, record that. And there we are, and it registered it, and it will let me know in a few seconds that the clip has been saved. There we are. So if I hold down the Xbox button this time, it brings up this screen which allows us to play the clip. So let's see where exactly it starts from. You can see this is as I was explaining it, and then as I start walking in circles, yeah, so I think it's actually, let's see if we can bring up, yeah, so that's a 30-second clip in total actually. I'm not sure if that's the same every time, I imagine so. I know it's definitely in the seconds region, not the minutes region when it comes to the length of the clip, but yeah, so if you've just done something particularly impressive in a game, you can very quickly just say that command and hopefully it registers it first time as it did then, and you can save that. Now, actually, it says there, if we bring up the extra options menu, you can also edit, which they did show in that all-in-one tour video that Xbox released. You install this Upload Studio, which is free to download, and you can do some minor clipping and put a few extra effects on, and then upload it. Anyway, let's go back to the game itself. And oh, it's saved on the upload screen there. That's strange. Let's see if we can go Just want to go straight to Dead Rising 3. There we are, that's it. Okay, so that works rather nicely. Let's try once again to just use Kinect to go back to the home screen. Xbox, go home. And there we are, first time. It's a little bit better. You can see at the top right, it's still listening to my commands at the moment just to see if there were any follow-ups. And it's also quite nice how it does highlight the keywords that you can say. So if I say Xbox, you say Xbox. And there you are. It gives me some key commands I can do there. So I can say go to Netflix. Go to Netflix. And it loads it up there, which is rather nice. And hopefully once Netflix has loaded, obviously initial loading time, it takes a little while, but once that is loaded, it should keep that up and running, and then we can switch between Netflix, which is already booted up, and the game itself, which is rather cool. So yeah, there's Netflix itself, and now let's switch between the two. Xbox, go to Dead Rising 3. Very, very quick there. That is rather nice to see. Xbox, go to Netflix. And straight back to Netflix. You know what? That's pretty awesome. So that works, and it's pretty cool, I won't lie. But let's try something a little bit more complex, I guess. If we bring up Dead Rising 3 again, let's try using the snap window. Xbox, snap Netflix. Xbox, snap Netflix. And that brings up Netflix in a side screen there. And I had to reload it for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. But there we are. Okay, so it unfortunately doesn't look like you can do a whole lot with Netflix in the snap window, actually. It's giving me the option to go to full screen, but that is unfortunately about it. So let's try something else instead. Xbox, unsnap. Xbox, unsnap. And there we are. Let's try the activity feed. Kind of like Facebook, but for your Xbox. Xbox, snap activity. And there we are. That brings up a kind of list of what your friends are up to and what applications they're using and all that kind of stuff if you want to be extremely nosy whilst you're playing Dead Rising. So, Xbox, go to Dead Rising 3. Xbox, go to Dead Rising 3. And there we are. That lets us keep that running in the background whilst playing the game itself. Yeah, I was going to say it's a shame that you can't use Netflix at the same time, but really, I'm not sure that I can play video games and watch movies at the same time. But then again, I'm not good at multitasking apparently. So that's about it for the game. It's held up all right. It's just a shame that I have to keep repeating the odd phrase. When you've spent a decent amount of money on a console like this, and you bring your mum and dad in or one of your friends to show off your new shiny toy, you want it to be able to do things like voice commands, the snazzy stuff, without too many issues. But there we are. Okay, Xbox, go home. Now, actually, speaking of the snazzy stuff, one of my kind of favourite things, weirdly, from that initial kind of walkthrough video that the Xbox released themselves was the Skype interaction. So I'm going to bring that up and just show how the camera works whilst you're in the room, because I rather like it, to be honest. So Xbox, go to Skype. We'll load up Skype with my account here. And because it's rather early in the morning, I'm probably going to not have to ring anyone on my friends list. But as you can see, I just added a new contact by the name of Chris's Desk. So let's give them a call, shall we? It's a damn good desk. I'm going to have to nip quickly into the other room to answer this call. And here we are. Hello! Now then, let's see what Kinect makes of me walking into the screen. So, you can see that at the moment, it's got kind of wide angle view of the sofa. Now if I go to sit down, it registers that my face is here and zooms in a little bit, which is nice. If I kind of move around, It's following my face in particular, which is lovely. And I just really like that it works. Once again, it's a little bit gimmicky. I'm not sure how often I really walk around whilst making Skype calls, but it's nice. I like that it manages to do that, and it shows off what the Kinect camera can do a little bit more. Anyway, Chris's desk is proving to be rather a boring conversation, so we'll leave that. Xbox, go home. Actually, I might need to end the call. Xbox, end call. Skype, end call. End call. Maybe that's not something I can do right here. We'll have to hang up manually. And there we are. But yeah, we're back at the home screen now. And just to kind of have a last little run through of how the interface works. You can see, to be honest, there's not too much to it. It's trying to play it a little bit more low-key than the Xbox 360 dashboard, and it tucks things away quite nicely. I think you find a lot of the stuff you're after, to be honest, is in My Games and Apps down here. So if you bring that up, you can see the games that you've got installed, the game that's currently in the disk drive, and things like achievements. So actually, we'll take a look at that in a second. Applications like Internet Explorer, games that you can download at the moment, they're all found here. So to be honest, a lot of the stuff is found through there, and I guess Kinect commands will come in fairly useful just to be able to quickly get to that kind of stuff without searching through what could eventually be a rather long list of apps and games on your hard drive. But yeah, you can also pin things that are of interest to you on this left-hand side, and there's also these bigger, broader categories on the very right. But yeah, actually, I did mention the achievements there. You know what, let's go and have a quick glance at how those are set up. Unfortunately, I don't think, well, I haven't been using this account for my time on the Xbox One, so I've got no Xbox One achievements themselves, but you can see the kind of broad layout of the achievement pages here. Anyway, yeah, you can see Dead Rising 3. I've got none of the achievements so far, but if you bring that up, you can kind of loop through the achievements in a list that actually takes a little bit more time to get through, to be honest. I'm not sure what I think of the bigger icons there, but there's also these kind of daily challenges which are kind of incentives to go back and play certain games. So here we've got complete chapter 7 in story mode during launch week, and it doesn't, it says that if you complete that you get a reward image which is a gamer picture, I guess, which is rather nice. I wonder how well these kind of things will be supported later on. Actually, probably the coolest example of these kind of ongoing challenges is what Zoo Tycoon are doing, which is apparently trying to link players looking after animals in a zoo with looking after animals in real life by donating to conservation projects and the like, depending on how many people get involved in these challenges, or something along those lines. It's rather cool. You should look into it if you're interested. I haven't got a whole lot of achievements on XCOM Annie Within on the 360. Apparently they don't give achievements for restarting 5 times because you got your build order wrong. But yeah, it's laid out in a similar way, but without the challenges. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much all I really wanted to show off. I've kind of gone over the main aspects. The interface is a little bit confusing, particularly as it kind of moves around dynamically depending on what you've been using recently. But once you get used to that, and once you realise that a lot of things you're after are going to be in this area here, it's not too bad to use at all, actually. And I'm liking it for the most part. I just think they push Kinect really, really hard. And it doesn't feel, I haven't got the confidence I need in it to use it on a regular basis. Those few moments just within this video where I've had to repeat myself is frustrating, and it means there are going to be a few times when, particularly for recording something immediately, just because it's much easier than trying to do it through a menu system. But am I going to navigate around the interface itself using the commands instead of this? Well, probably not, because I'll sound like a bit of an idiot and it might not even listen to me in the first place. But yeah, there we are. That's a quick walkthrough of the Xbox One interface. If you'd like to check out any of our other Xbox One coverage, we've done a couple of early impressions of Dead Rising 3, which we've shown a couple of times here, and Zoo Tycoon, and there's more to come throughout the week, so keep an eye on that. Bye!